Hello, my absolutely beautiful Virgo friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2022, where Virgo, this year, it's really interesting in terms of your thinking, and you're using your voice, the way that you actually communicate, and the things that you are communicating out about are really, really impacted this year. So I think it's an important time this year to be paying attention to how you are expressing yourself, and also surrounding yourself with the people, places, and things that allow you to step up and step into opportunities that allow you to not only express yourself, but move yourself forward into personal growth and professional growth as well. So I think it's going to be a very interesting year. Now, your ruling planet is going to continue to retrograde this year in air signs. So for you, quite specifically, you're going to not only feel the impact of the Mercury retrograde because it is your ruling planet. So when the ruling planet goes retrograde, we can sometimes feel a little bit like we have to step back, unless, of course, your Mercury is retrograde in your natal chart. Then during the retrogrades, you're going to feel like, yes, let me at them. You know what I mean? It's a really big come out kind of energy. But for the rest of the year, you're going to see retrogrades in these air signs, which change the way that we think about things, change our perspectives, change the way that we communicate things. And for you, between your 6th house, your 10th house, and your 2nd house, which are all houses that are really related to work and related to skills and talents that we use to make work, and the daily routines that we set up to be successful in those areas, including your health and wellness, how you think about the daily routine. So there's a lot going on to consider the story this year, but ultimately in the end, I think what the push for 2022 is for you, Virgo, is to really step into the self-expression. You've got a lot of 5th house lit up, so there's also a big emphasis on things that are happening for, of, and around children, or if you are past the baby making phase, things that have to do with babying, giving conception, or continuing to give love, life, and risk to these things that you are nurturing into life, whether it be a business, a hobby, poetry, sports even will fall in here, things that have speculation, and for some of you, romance and opening up to the idea of romance. But there's a big focus on the way the communications and that self-expression are showing up. So let's get in here, Virgo, and see what's going on in 2022. So right at the beginning of the year, as we're coming in with Venus retrograde in that energy of Capricorn. And it went retrograde in 2021, but we're going to cross into 2022 still experiencing that retrograde. Now, Venus is retrograding here in your 5th house space. And this is important to understand because as you are experiencing the retrograde here, Venus is saying, what's the value of how I make money? The relationships in my life. What are my values around the structures in my life? And do they, Capricorn, help me achieve what I'm trying to do? Do they help me commit to and create a solid foundation of achievement in my 5th house? Children, conception of ideas of businesses, hobbies, creative pursuits, self-expression, your own voice, the desires that you have. Do you have different values in your life today that have changed the way you need the structures to help you achieve? This Venus retrograde is going to be asking those questions. And now as we continue on and we look through the year, we get to the last week of the year and we're going to see Mercury, your ruling planet, hit a retrograde in Capricorn in this same area. So it's going to ask you at that time, have you made adjustments to this area so that as that Mercury retrograde is happening in this 5th house, you've seen creative ways to spice up your life, to bring it into the alignment of success that you really need. So just know that you're starting this year and ending this year with some retrograde energy in this 5th house. So it really is asking you to re-look at this area. And a lot of it has to do with how you're expressing things, okay? Now also as we come into the year, we're looking at January 14th, and we've got Mercury taking that first retrograde. It's going to be in the energy of Aquarius, which of course is an air sign. But for you, this lights up the 6th house space. So this is a reevaluation at this time of daily routines, which includes health, mental wellness, how you set up your daily routine, projects that you've taken on. Aquarius is a big electric energy. So I have a question for you right here at the beginning of the year. Virgo, did you take on a project, or you've stepped into a project that of course lets you be of service to people around you, humanity, all this stuff, a grouping of people, but it's really, really big. Because as this retrograde travels back, and we'll get much more into it into the monthlies and weeklies, but as this retrograde travels back into Capricorn, you may be having to look at whatever is in this daily routine and again see if you took on something that is too big, that doesn't actually allow you to express the way you want to, and so it's not in alignment with the achievement of your structure. So I think you'll be asked to look at that with this first retrograde, but also, just relook at the daily routine. What do you have going on? And do you have a tribe of people, Virgo, in your life that you feel like you can honestly express who you are and they support your development moving forward? Now, on February 17th, we've got this beautiful alignment in the sky. I really want you to circle your calendars. We've got transiting Jupiter in a sextile to Uranus, who's over in Taurus. And this is a day of being like, it's like you're downloaded with information or with an idea or with something that's been really innovative. Like maybe you've been thinking about it, or you couldn't quite get the solution, or maybe you even put it on the back burner. You wrote it on your goals list. I would really like to expand this in my partnership zone. I would like to have a different experience with this over here. And as these come together, it's almost this energy of like, boom, I get a whole new arrangement, or I get a whole new alignment, or an idea of how to align around my relationships. And maybe even some of those relationships just have to do, Virgo, with that you've developed a new philosophy, or you've developed a new level of faith and trust in these relationships that allows you to have the experience, Jupiter, to have the wisdom in these areas. Now, I also think as Jupiter and Uranus come together in your relationships, if you owe amends, if there are things to clean up, you will want to be, and maybe will even be motivated under this energy to do any kind of cleanup that needs to happen to allow these relationships to expand forward just absolutely beautifully. On April 12th, we're going to see Jupiter and Neptune come together in their conjunction, and this means anything's possible. Absolutely anything's possible. So around your relationships, the level of expansion, your ability to reach out and touch people and connect and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger is absolutely available here. So it's wonderful because it means anything's possible. What I will want you to be mindful of is how big are things getting, so that you're not taking on something that feels like it's the best position. It's going to really get your name out there, and ultimately the details of it are too much for you to handle. So you actually end up being met with disappointment instead of speaking up, right? How you express yourself for what you need to make the project biteable. So you can take it one bite at a time. So watch out for that energy, but it is really lovely. April 30th, we've got a solar eclipse happening at 10 degrees of Taurus. Now think back to November of 2021, where we had a lunar eclipse in the energy of Taurus. So for you in this ninth house place, what of the publishing, marketing, broadcasting, advancing, things with law, things in your faith or around your philosophies, even things that do have to do with amends, what came up for you? What got cleared out? What ideas did you see? Those don't work for me anymore. I don't believe in them anymore. And so at that eclipse, you were letting them go. And now we've got this solar eclipse happening here. And this actually brings in the support, or it brings in a new energy for you to be able to develop this particular area. So it really could look like you're taking some travel. It could look like money is expanding for you, Taurus. It could look like relationships are expanding. But whatever it is, I do feel like it's Taurus energy. So it's in the material plane. You'll get to see why clearing out something in November, now coming all the way to April, has led you to a space and a place where you can create things that are in the material plane. They're tangible. You can see them. You can trust them, you can taste them, and they are ultimately really about your expansion. So if you're teaching a course, giving a presentation, marketing happens in the ninth house, any of those things will be the fruit of flavor on your table at this particular time, okay? Now, when we get to May 10th, we're going to see your ruling planet Mercury take a retrograde now in the energy of Gemini. So we're going to see this light up of energy for you where you're going to have to pause, close your eyes, go back, reconsider some things that have been going on for you, some things that have been in your spiritual space, and you have to rethink them. And some of them I just think will be about networking, right? Like what's happening in your networking, what's happening in this career space, truly, whether it's your actual physical career or if it's like a title that we know you as in public, Virgo. Is this a time like you're having to go back over it and be like, wait a minute, is this what I want to be doing? Is this what I want to be saying? What's the purpose I have in doing this? Is there a way for me to make money or be in a career that actually makes me happier, or to stay in the career I am, but I need to adjust something about, I need to speak up for something about that I need to change in order for me to be able to be successful. So this could be a really interesting time for you. May 11th, we see Jupiter pop into the energy of Aries. So between May and October, you're going to see Jupiter traveling in this Aries energy. And remember, Jupiter is about bringing the wisdom, but the wisdom also comes with experience. We just have to have the experience. So this is going to light up and begin to expand for you this 8th house space. So joint resources. And that includes partners' money, things happening in partnership. We do things that have to do with death, that have to do in the 8th house, but not so much like physical death. Somebody's going to die. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. But we're looking for, people or things in your life to die off in one form and begin to live in another. This is also a time where I think with Jupiter here, you are pushed and put in a position, Virgo, to say, this is what I need help with. I need to be supportive. You need to go out there and Aries this energy. You need to say, I would love to collaborate with you, but these are my terms, right? So it's very much so this idea of your self-expression and speaking up for what you need. But also in the 8th house with Jupiter here, wouldn't that just be delicious if your partner was getting a little raise, or you got that collaboration, that endorsement, that sponsorship that came running to the table? Wouldn't it be great if Jupiter brought some healing into your life in the 8th house area? Because we do have to look back, right? We have to look back into this 8th house area and go, what did I believe at that time? I did the best I could, but what did I believe at that time that maybe left me in a position? Now, the other thing I love about the 8th house activation for you here is that if you've been wanting to study tarot, astrology, blah, 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 psychotherapy, any of those things you could see coming to your table at this time. So keep an eye on what's coming to your table around 8th house joint things, vulnerabilities, intimacy, sex, reproductive organs between May and October. And then in 2023, we will absolutely be having the conversation about that. And yes, for some of you, somebody will likely end up being pregnant. And that's not just statistically, but Jupiter does like to grow the belly. It does like to grow the belly. Okay, so that could definitely be something on your agenda. Now, as we get to May 16th, we've got a lunar eclipse happening at 25 degrees of Scorpio. So this one is going to be lighting up your 3rd house. So you've got this 9th house, 3rd house axis happening for you. So as this particular eclipse rolls into your 3rd house, because this is a lunar eclipse, it says something needs to be ended, acknowledged, or adjusted. There needs to be a change to the way that you are communicating something, or the way that you are thinking about something that is going on, right? Virgo, you're mercurial. You have the gift of word magic. So whether you're speaking it and saying it out loud, or you're typing, or you're writing, is there something going on where writing and sharing the information is a deep desire that you have, but you haven't been doing it for some reason? Or there's something that's making you feel like you're held up from writing that book or adjusting that website. Are there ways that you've been talking to other people, right, that are not working out anymore, and you're finding that? Is there a place where you need to be a little bit more open-minded? What's happening around the communication zone? Now, also, this lunar eclipse being in the 3rd house, I think about what's going on with your siblings. So they could be in a state of transformation, and over the next 6 months, you're getting to show up and really support that. Now, whatever you do see here at this particular time, just know that the endings and the clearings out that are coming here are really about getting the space ready for what's next. So if challenge appears, it's an invitation from the universe to engage. Tap more into the universal energy. Do less of the heavy lifting. You just do the footwork and let the universe handle the big stuff, okay? As we get to September, we're going to see Mercury taking a retrograde in Libra. Now, I'm going to just ask you, look back to 2021. What came up for you when Mercury was retrograde retrograde in Libra, how many relationship things ran on back here to your table? How many things did you discuss around money? You know, think back to October 2021. What was going on around money for you, or relationships connected to money, or relationships connected to the things that you feel like you value? But I really feel like Virgo, because so much of this year is about an expression for you of some direction, you know, are you using the way that you express as a creative talent and skill to make your money? What are you doing around that? There could be some big questions happening there. October 25th, we've got a solar eclipse now happening at that 2 degrees of Scorpio. So we've cleared out some things. Now we've got a solar eclipse rolling around. And this solar eclipse is like, first of all, it's Scorpio. So it's a fresh start. And I do think that if there are things that were revealed from this last 6 months from the lunar eclipse, and you arrive here at the solar eclipse in Scorpio and need to have a conversation, you need to make a decision. You need to make a decision. I think you will feel over this next 6 months the pressure, like you feel like you're getting pushed in the direction of that decision. And pressure here is not about, ooh, squeeze down and it hurts. It's about grow. The universe like tickling your roots, saying it's okay to grow. It may mean that you have to have conversations with yourself or others that are maybe uncomfortable or scare you a little. Are you advancing out and now it's time to expand yourself on that world stage, or even in your community? And you got to have you got to have a conversation about a contract. I need to make more money. I need to be having this in my contract. And these could be hard conversations that you find yourself needing to have. But I also think, Virgo, because this is so much about your self-expression, and what you think, or what you think you know, this could be you having a hard conversation with yourself saying, I need to stay open-minded to the next possibility, right? So that could be something that you see as well. As we get to October 31st, Mars is going to go retrograde in the energy of Gemini. So this is where the strategy, honest to goodness, the strategy that you've been using at work, the strategy you've been using around your career title, or the title we call you in public. And what I mean is, were you single and now you're married? You know, were you not a mom and now you're a mom, or a dad, or whatever that looks like? What's the title we know you as in public? In Mars, you're relooking at the strategy you're using to get things done. I think you're also going to be relooking at the desire you have to do the career that you have. Are you on track with it? Have you had the courage to plant the energy and move your feet towards the career or the life that you want and that you desire quite publicly? What does that mean for you? And sometimes we got to travel to all the things we don't want to figure out what we do want. So this year is not a bust. It's not a waste. Move your feet, live your life, allow the universe to infiltrate your spirit and tell you when something is even what you don't want. Now, Mars retrograde is still Mars retrograde, so you could see that relationship dynamics, especially with people of a male vibration or a heavier masculine vibration, you can find that there's a little bit of complication happening in there. Have the best conversations that you can, though, okay? On the 8th of November, we're going to have the lunar eclipse, the last eclipse of the year, happening in Taurus. Now remember, we had a lunar eclipse November 2021, then we got to tap in with a solar eclipse, and now we're back for the last eclipse of the year. So it's like things have been coming full circle. So what does this eclipse over here in the 9th house, how has your mind changed, right? How do you... first of all, I do think everything from November all the way through at this November, you get to see that the hard work, the beliefs, the expanding yourself out, the philosophies that govern your life, and truly even pregnancies at this time are moving along, right? The work has been done and you're not just sitting here vibrating, trying to get the next thing going. I think there are some tangible results that present themselves at this time because Taurus wants tangible results, right? So I think that you can see that happening. But also at the lunar eclipse, what are you ready to shed so that you can keep this momentum going? This will be a big theme of your own growth that I think is supported here at the end of the year. Now, before we close out the year, your ruling planet is going to go retrograde one more time, December 29th, taking us into 2023. And it's going to go retrograde this time, though, in an Earth energy. So it'll be in Capricorn. So again, that fifth house space. So taking on new responsibilities. Does this area, are we communicating in a way that allows us to achieve? Are our children needing our attention and help in some way, shape, or form? You'll review that, but it's all about, is this area solid, sound, and achieving? And also about, am I stepping into my authority and my mastery of this particular area? So if you're writing a book on kids, you're writing a book on your hobbies, whatever it is this year, I can't wait to see how you step into it, Virgos, okay? All right, my beautiful friends, like this video, comment, share, subscribe. I love you a whole ton, and I look forward to seeing you all through the year, the weeklies, the monthlies, all of it. Bye, my friends.